Hello, Megadeth fans, metal fans, metalheads, fans of uh, Dave Mustaine. Uh, I am going to be doing. This is going to be and a ranking of all the Megadeth albums, all 16, including the latest one, not Dystopia, The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead. I get a little mixed up there for a second. It was released just earlier this September. I think it was on September 2nd, if I'm remembering correctly. Sorry, I think I'm just a little nervous. I haven't done a video in a little while. I got this Metallic shirt on. I'm a bit more of a Metallic fan than a Megadeth fan. And see this? It's a Gimme Fuel shirt. It's like, I think it's probably supposed to be James Hetfield as a speed demon cruising in a car saying, "Gimme fuel." Or, "Gimme fuel." See, I got a Metallica poster in the background. I bought that at a beach. Okay, starting off with number 16. Now, 16, 15, 14, and 13, in my ranking, I do not have those albums. Basically, because I just don't really like them that much, and I just didn't really care to buy them. So I don't really care to own them. So 16th place, this is going to come as no surprise, but Risk, that would be in 16th place. That's one of their weakest albums, in my opinion, from 1999. I don't really go for that one. And then 15th, I'm going to put Cryptic Writings from 1997 for me. Again, I don't really go for that one that much. Except for, I do really like that song, FFF. That one's great. I like that one. That one's great. Except for the fact that it is not original at all. It doesn't seem like it's original at all. It seems like the same exact song as Motor Breath from Metallica, from Kill 'Em All from 1983. Except for the fact that it just has different lyrics. Great song, but it's just not original, and there's nothing really else that I really go for off that album. And then next up, I'm going to say Super Collider is number 14, I think. Yeah, I'd put, I guess, Super Collider, 14. Okay, and 14 and 13 kind of switch back and forth. 14th, I'd put Super Collider. I can't say there's really any songs on that album that really stand out to me. I wouldn't say it's bad, like, musically. I think I'm just not that, I don't really go for it too much. And then 13, I put So Far So Good So What. There are some good songs on there, I'll admit. It's just, as an album, like, full length, I just don't really go for it that much. Yeah, that one there. Anarchy in UK is a cover song on there, so there's a cover song on there, and like, I mean, it's a good song, Anarchy in the UK, but it's not original, and I gotta be honest, I'm not sure I can say it sounds anything like Megadeth. It sounds more like Sex Pistols. That's who originally did that song, was the Sex Pistols. I think it was sometime in the 1970s, if I'm correct. And for some reason, I think because Dave Mustaine, he heard the song wrong. He said the lyrics differently a little bit on that one. You can look it up. Well, okay, now I'm going to be getting into the albums that I actually have. Okay. And some of these might be a shock in terms of how low I have some of them. At least one of them. Okay, number 12. Now, all these albums I like. I like some of these albums a lot more than others, is all. And that's kind of just why I have this as well as I have it. Countdown to Extinction from 1992. This one has Skin in My Teeth, Symphony of Destruction. That's a good song. Architecture of Aggression, Foreclosure of a Dream, Sweating Bullets. That one's kind of funny if you ever seen the music video. It's kind of like he's got like, I don't know, like multiple personalities or something. Something. It's kind of funny. Old video. This Was My Life, Countdown to Extinction, the title track, High Speed Dirt, Psychotron, Captive Honor. If I can remember, I think I thought Ashes in Her Mouth was a really good one. I haven't heard this album in a little while. And there's a bonus tracks on this one, Crown of Worms, previously unreleased in the U.S. If I'm remembering correctly, that's another song on there. Then there's a demo of Countdown to Extinction, previously unreleased. Symphony of Destruction demo, previously unreleased in the U.S. And Crown of Worms is previously unreleased in the U.S. Then Psychotron demo, previously unreleased. And this is a remixed, remastered version. So that's 12th place. And 11th place is their, I believe it's their 2011 album, 13. I kind of think the cover's kind of interesting. It's kind of like 13, like lucky 13, unlucky 13. That's probably kind of what they were going for here, something like that. It's a little strange. Yeah. The album, it's alright. It's got songs, Sudden Death, Public Enemy Number 1. Whose Life Is It Anyways? We the People, Guns, Drugs, and Money. Never Dead, New World Order. Fast Lane, Black Swan, Wrecker, Millennium of the Blind, Deadly Nightshade, 13. Then there's a bonus track, Public Enemy Number 1 Live. And then the next one, I believe this is number 10, if I'm correct. United Abominations from 2007. Their 11th studio album, if I'm remembering correctly. Sleepwalker. That's a good one. Washington is next. Washington is next. That one's kind of interesting. I might be getting this one mixed up with another one. But it kind of sounds, it's very like kind of, some of these songs are kind of like, this is it's almost like it predicts kind of like, it has something to do with, I don't want to say it wrong. It's Never Walk Alone, A Call to Arms, United Abominations. That has to do with like the United Nations. And I think he's kind of saying that he feels like the United Nations are kind of like abominable or something. I think that's what he's saying. I'm not an expert here. Gears of War, Blessed Are the Dead, Play for Blood, A Tout Le Monde, Set Me Free. This is the one featuring Christina Scabia. Great song. That's like the standout song on this album, in my opinion. It's an original, but it's another version of the one from 1994 off of Euthanasia. And that's a great song. I like that one. America Stan, then You're Dead, and then Burnt Ice. I mean, all these songs are good, and they're not bad. It's just like, they're just not like as memorable, I guess. It's kind of what I'd say. There's other ones. The next one, I put The World Needs a Hero from 2001. This one's got Disconnect. The world needs a hero. Motorcycle. 1,000 miles an hour. Motorcycle. I like that one. That one's great. That one's cool. 1,000 times goodbye. Burning bridges. Promises. Recipe for hate. Warhorse. Losing my senses. Dread and fugitive mind. Silent scorn. It kind of sounds like, the Slayer song Silent Scream. It rhymes kind of. I don't know if maybe that's what they're going for. I'm not sure title wise. Return to Hangar. That's kind of like listening to Hangar 18 a little bit, but I can't say it's as good. When and Coming Home is that's a bonus track, Coming Home. Standout songs for me on this one. I really like Moto Psycho, 1,000 Times Goodbye. 1,000 Times Goodbye, that's kind of a song about sex and relationships, but I kind of like it. Some of these songs, like Moto Psycho and 1,000 Times Goodbye, these might have been a couple of the first Megadeth songs I remember hearing for a fact. I remember over 20 years ago when I was 8 years old in 2001, I think it was probably when this album was released. This one right here. I remember being with my dad in his pickup truck, I think, and I think I was coming from a skate park. I used to skateboard a lot back then. I'm a skateboarder, and when and I remember listening to it, and I think my dad had said I don't know, what do you think of this song Moto Psycho, or the song Moto Psycho? I'm like, it's okay. It's kind of cool. I think my dad, he may have said something like, I think the earliest stuff is better. You gotta, I gotta show you the early stuff someday or something. I think he may have said something like that. Because he actually had, I remember he had, early Metallica albums, as well as Megadeth. He had some early ones. He had some early Slayer ones, as well as Anthrax, if I'm remembering correctly. I could have sworn, I know he had, some of those early records from the 80s up till around maybe 1990. He had some of those. I don't remember if he actually showed me any of those or not. If he did, I don't really remember that those are the albums. But once in a while he showed me a record and be like, what do you think of this song or something like that when I was a kid. But I don't really remember what songs they were, or what bands or albums or artists they are, because it was just so long ago. I just don't remember. Next one I would put is Endgame from 2009. Dialectic Chaos. This Day We Fight. 44 minutes. 1320. Bite the Hand. Bodies. Endgame. And in case you're wondering, that song Bodies sounds familiar. It's not the one from Drowning Pool. It's not the one that goes, let the bodies hit the floor, let the bodies hit the floor, the bodies hit the floor. That's a totally different one. That one's Drowning Pool. This is Megadeth. It's a totally different song, just the same title. Endgame. That has to do with the New World Order, and it has to do with the mark of the beast described in the Book of Revelation in God's Word, the Bible. That's what it has to do with. That one there, it's kind of interesting. And it's about how talks about FEMA camps and things like that. And that's kind of what the theme is here. On here, it's you see all the people, it's they're heading to FEMA camps or something. I think a lot of these people are people who, I don't want to say it. Then there's The Hardest Part of Letting Go, Sealed with a Kiss, Head Crusher, How the Story Ends, The Right to Go Insane. Then there's a bonus track, Washington is Next Live. That's a great song off of United Abominations, and I can't remember what the live version is like, but I think it's pretty good if I'm remembering correctly. It's been a while since I've heard a lot of these albums. One of the standout tracks for me. Okay, I can't remember exactly which song it is, but I know it's like a line. I just found it funny, and like when I first heard this album, it was right before the pandemic of 2020. Coronavirus, and there's a line he goes and says something like, "Gonna get some TV dinners and beer." It's kind of funny, and like right before the pandemic, I didn't get TV dinners and beer. I don't drink, and I don't really eat TV dinners because I think they're just not that healthy. Um, but my diet's pretty questionable as it is. I did get some Mountain Dew before the pandemic, if I'm remembering correctly, I think, and I picked up some stuff. I don't really remember what, maybe some cans of soup or something. I'm not sure if I remember exactly. Now, this is, let me see. Okay, I believe this is in 7th place. Now we're kind of getting into some really good territory here. Euthanasia. This album from 1994. Oh, it's a great album. Reckoning Day, Train of Consequences, Addicted to Chaos, A Tout Le Monde, the original Tout Le Monde. I like that one, and I like the one featuring Christina Scabia. They're both great. Do I like one more than the other? Maybe the one with Christina Scabia, only because, if I can remember correctly, I think I remember hearing that one first. I remember hearing that one on the radio, I think, a long time ago. Maybe when the album United Abominations was just released. I remember actually, like, from my memory, I think I was with my mom, and I think we were going to the grocery store, and I was like 14. And I remember, like, it came on, and I think my mom even liked the song. And I think I remember, like, liking the song then. So I think I like that version a bit better. But this is the original, and this is a good song. I'd say Elysian Fields, The Killing Road, Blood of Heroes, Family Tree, Euthanasia, I Thought I Knew It All, Black Curtains, Victory. And there's a bonus tracks, Millennium of the Blind, which is previously unreleased, and New World Order demo, which is previously unreleased in the U.S. This is one that they originally wrote around 2004 when this re-release was, this remix remaster was done, and then they didn't release it until, I believe it was on 13? Yeah, New World Order. Track 7 on 13, 7 years later. Or they literally, either that or they wrote it in 1994, and for some reason it didn't go on an album for 17 years. For some reason. I'm a little unsure. I mean, that one's kind of good. It's a demo, though, so it's not like the best quality. The demos aren't the best quality, really, most of the time on these. Obviously, it's because the demo wasn't, like, finished or something. It wasn't, like, the final. Absolution, instrumental, previously unreleased. I can't remember much about that. From my memory, I don't remember Megadeth ever having any long instrumentals. So it's probably like 2 to 4 minutes or something like that. Because I can't really remember how long it is. And then a Tout Le Monde demo, previously unreleased. Yeah, that's the cover. Kind of bizarre. And now I'm going to be at the latest one. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is 6th place. I put the latest one in 6th place. The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead. Which has The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead, Life in Hell, Night Stalkers featuring Ice-T of Body Count, the legendary Ice-T. If you're wondering who that is, you're wondering who's Ice-T, maybe that sounds familiar. You know, he's married to Coco Austin, and he had a show, I think, on MTV called Ice-T Loves Coco. Other than that, it was on VH1 like a long time ago, maybe like a decade or so ago, like somewhere in the 2000s or something. Dogs of Chernobyl, that's a good one. Sacrifice, Junkie, Psychopathy or Psychopathy, I think it's Psychopathy, Killing Time, Soldier On, Butant, Mission to Mars, We'll Be Back, We'll Be Back. Standout tracks, definitely Night Stalkers featuring Ice-T. That one's kind of cool. It's cool to hear like Ice-T rapping for a minute. It's different. Would have been cool if they could have had Ice-T rapping a bit longer for it, because he's only rapping like for like maybe like a few seconds or something. It's kind of like that's it really. Like it just would have been great to hear him a bit longer is all. I think it would have just been really cool to hear him a bit longer. But it's good. Good song though. Dogs of Chernobyl, Sacrifice, Junkie, that's a good one. Butant. That one kind of reminds me a little bit like when the girl says ooh la la. It kind of reminds me of In the World Needs a Hero. Yeah, The World Needs a Hero. It reminds me of, I think it's 1,000 Times Goodbye, where there's a girl talking on the phone. It kind of reminds me of that a little bit, and I can't remember for sure if it's on Celebutants or if it's on another one, but there's another one was a riff. It kind of reminds me of like the beginning of like an old Motley Crue song, just like the beginning of it. A bit. It's good. Mission to Mars says like I want to be an astronaut. It says want to be an astronaut. Want to be an astronaut. I don't remember exactly how it says it, but I've heard this pretty recently. I picked this up the other day, surprisingly at Walmart. I didn't think they'd have this at Walmart. I thought I was gonna have to go to a record store to get it. We'll Be Back. I mean, this is a good album. I think the only reason why I have this one, Sick, Dying, and Dead, as low as I have it, I don't know. I think I just like a lot of the other albums more. Oh, and second, I'm just gonna. Sorry about that. Oh, and when I got it at Walmart, it came with this, which was cool. This cover right here, where it's like it kind of like you can like move it and stuff. It's like this 3-dimensional cover, which is kind of cool. Only problem is it doesn't fit in the case. It's like a bit wider than the case. That's the only problem I have. If you see where the case is, you see like where it would actually fit. Like, see how wide the case is? So for me to actually fit it in the case, I'd literally have to cut like a good chunk of it off, or a chunk off of each side. That's the only problem. I just kind of wish they would have made it a little bit smaller just so it would fit in the case. Is all. But it's pretty cool. I just like had it like standing around. Yeah. I mean, it's possible this album could grow on me a bit. It's just I've only listened to it once, all the way through in my car. And then I have listened to it another time. Some of it was in my car. Some of it was on my phone. And then I listened to like some of the songs on YouTube with videos. Like I think it was like The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead, and like it was like chapters 1, 2, and 3 or something that they had. Yeah. Okay, now we're getting into my top 5. And this top 5 might be a little surprising in some ways, no. And this one here, at number 5, Dystopia. Oh, this is a great album from 2016. And oh, by the way, I mean, Megadeth, they still got it. They can still play really well. Dave Mustaine, he's got it still. His vocals, his guitar work. He still got it. This one here, Dystopia. The threat is real. Dystopia. Fatal illusion. Death from within. Bullet to the brain. Post-American world. Poisonous shadows. Conquer or die. Lying in state. The emperor. Foreign policy. If I remember correctly, I think Foreign Policy might be a cover. That's a good one, though. This is a very good album. In a way, it's as good as, like, their early stuff. This one here. Standout songs, definitely. The Threat is Real. Dystopia. This is 2016. Maybe Post-American World. I mean, this is just a whole good album. I can't say there's like one bad song on here. It's just all good. I mean, it's cover's kind of interesting. It's kind of like it's like the future, and it's like the opposite of a utopia, but it's like a dystopia in terms of like a opposite of a utopian society where everything's like perfect and happy and everything and stuff, but it's like a dystopian future where everything's like really messed up and chaotic. I think if it gets to a point where we see this many like this looks like a way further future than anywhere currently in terms of the technology. I don't know, maybe I could be wrong, I don't know. Okay, and then top 4. Killing is my business and business is good. And this is a re-release, remaster, the final kill. What it says. Last rites, loved you to death. Killing is my business and business is good. Killing is my business and business is good. The skull beneath the skin, rattlehead. Oh, you doggone head. I'm just sad to. I just want to change a lyric there. Chosen ones looking down the cross. Mechanics. No, that's a good song, but it's basically. For those of you who don't know this, Mechanics is actually originally what the Four Horsemen by Metallica was going to be. Four Horsemen was originally written as the Mechanics, but then Metallica, once they kicked Dave Mustaine out, they changed the lyrics to that one, and they did the Four Horsemen, he did the Mechanics. In a way, this one's a little bit faster and almost a little bit heavier in terms of sound, in a way, than that one. In terms of production, but I prefer Four Horsemen. I just think it's a better song, and I think it has to do with the lyrics. It's just like it has to do with like the Four Horsemen and the apocalypse, and it's just kind of cool. And then These Boots, that's the only song I kind of wish was different. I don't know. I kind of that one there. It's a bonus track. It's a cover. It's not a bad cover. It's just the song. It's just not great, in my opinion. That's a problem I have with this album. Is that song? I'm not crazy about it. Listenable, but just not great. Like originally released in 1985. This is their debut album. And this is not the original cover. This is basically what they wanted for the original cover. But I think like they didn't have a good budget or something. Rattlehead, rattle your doggone head. I'd rather say doggone. Yeah, so they had to like improvise and like then they eventually got that cover. Okay, now we're getting the top three, and this might be a lot of people are gonna be like, yeah, two of these would be in my top three for sure. In like almost everybody's top three. And I almost put 2 and 1. I mean, I almost put 3 and 2 as 2 and 1. But I'm going to explain why I put them as 2 and 3 instead of 2 and 1. And why I put the one that I put in first, the one in first. Peace sells, but who's buying? 1986. Wake Up Dead. Peace sells, but who's buying? Devil's Island. Good Morning, Black Friday. Bad Omen. I Ain't Superstitious. My Last Words. Now this is a great album. I'll admit that this album is awesome, musically and all. And the songs are, a lot of these songs are great. Just, the reason why I don't have this one in 2 or 1 has a lot to do with the fact that it's like, I just can't take The Conjuring. It's like, I found out there was like a curse on the song, and it's just, let's just say I just can't take that one. Is all. And I can't take it so much that I actually got like I asked for somebody I know if they could make a copy for it, a copy of this one without that song on it, just so I don't have to skip it all the time or even listen to it if I don't have time to skip it. Maybe I'm like busy doing something important while driving. Like, so I did my own, like, I tried to do my own, like, cover art. Tried to do it to the best of my ability, like, with the logos and stuff, and I like it. I think the cover looks awesome. This is a remix, remaster. Cover's really cool. I'm not crazy about the color orange, but it works for this. I like it for this. It's like I'm not really crazy about the color orange. Don't really like the color orange that much. But when it comes to fall leaves, like it. When it comes to this album cover, like it. Although the X Games used orange for other logos back in the early 2000s, I hated it. Oh. Those X Games just aged terribly in my opinion. In a way, as a result. Like, to watch, it's almost like cringe words. Like, I hate this orange. It's just, look on the logos and aesthetics and stuff. It doesn't look great to me. I remember, like, when they first did that, I was like, oh, man, why'd they make it orange or something? Then all of a sudden, like, 2005, I'm like, finally, they get the colors back. It's like, oh, fantastic. And it's like, oh, they got a new logo, too. Okay, cool. And then number 2, Rust in Peace from 1990. Holy Wars, The Punishment 2, Hangar 18. Then there's 5 Magics. And Poison Was the Cure, Lucretia, Tornado of Souls, Dawn Patrol, Rust in Peace, Polaris. And this one's got some previously unreleased bonus tracks. My Creation, that's a good one. Rest in Peace Polaris demo. In a way, I kind of prefer the demo of Rest in Peace Polaris because of the fact that, at least with the vocals on Rest in Peace Polaris, the demo, I prefer over the finalized version. The vocals sound kind of weak to me on the Rest in Peace Polaris, the original one at times. And I'm going to say the same thing with Five Magics in a way. Then Holy Wars, The Punishment Due is a demo. Take No Prisoners, demo. The reason why I have this in 2 is basically because I really don't like Five Magics. It reminds me a bit of The Conjuring, and it's kind of strange. I don't really like the lyrics to it. There's some Metallica songs that are similar to it that I like way more. Songs like Weapon Messiah and Master of Puppets, where they have similar lines, and I'd rather listen to those songs so much more than Metallica. I prefer them a bit. And when it comes to The Conjuring, songs that are similar are like Ride the Lightning, Fight Fire with Fire, Creeping Death, maybe even Phantom Ward, you could say. You could even say maybe like All Nightmare Long or something. Maybe even Hardwired Self-Destruct a little bit. Like in terms of riffs and intensity. And then other songs by Megadeth like Peace Cells and Devil's Island that I'd just rather listen to. I just think are better songs. Like lyrically. You can say in some ways lyrics can kind of make or break a song for me. As you can say, like subject matter wise, what it's talking about. Sometimes it's like if I can't take the lyrics, it's like I don't want to listen to this. But it's like, yeah, and like when I say like Five Magic sound weak, I'm talking about like basically like the vocal delivery. It sounds kind of silly in the way in terms of talks and stuff in it. And it's kind of weird and kind of disturbing. Not as disturbing as The Conjuring to me, but I don't like it. But the songs on here that I like, I think are great and are some of my favorites. I love Holy Wars, Punishment Due, Hang 18, and Take No Prisoners. So that's probably my top 3 favorite Megadeth songs. Poison Was the Cure is good as well. Lucretia. And I think it's the song Lucretia where I know Papa Roach when they did the song Blood Brothers off of I believe it's Infest from 2000. The intro is like so reminiscent of the intro to Lucretia, except it doesn't have the laugh in that one. And that song's awesome. Song Lucretia, that's another good song. Tornado of Souls, that's great. Dawn Patrol, I'm not that crazy about that one. It's just kind of Rest in Peace Polaris. Like I said, like the vocal delivery is just kind of. I just don't like this. The demo version of it that's on here, I, in a way, prefer to listen to because of the vocals. And now my number 1 might come as a shock to some people, but I'll explain why this one here, The System Has Failed, is my number 1. And I could really argue that I could put Rust in Peace as well as Peace Sells But Who's Buying, Killing Is My Business ahead of this. But basically, I just like every song on here. Blackmail the Universe, great song. Died Dead Enough, great song. Kick the Chair, great song. The Scorpion, Tears in a Vial is good. I Know Jack, back in the day, I love that one. That's a great song. Something That I'm Not, Truth Be Told, Of Mice and Men, that's a good one. Shadow of Death, that one there is literally a scripture right out of the Bible. I'm trying to remember which psalm it is. I think it's Psalm 23. It's let me check 1 second. I have it on my wall. Yeah, it's Psalm 23, King James Version. It's Psalm 23, which go and like it's word for word right from the King James Version. Right there, it's basically that scripture. I'm not sure if it is Dave Mustaine speaking and if he's speaking in like a different voice or if it's somebody else speaking. I think that's kind of cool. Um, Excuse me, I think I burped. Then it just goes into like a instrumental, and then it goes right into the last song, "My Kingdom." If I'm remembering correctly, the song "My Kingdom." I think it's kind of like about like how Dave Mustaine he's talking about like before he became a born again Christian, and like what his life was like before, and like stuff like that. And this one here, this was the first album that Dave Mustaine did after he became a born again Christian, gave his life to Christ, or supposedly he became a born again Christian. As far as I know, around 2002. Um, yeah. Um, Little history about the band. Um, Kind of have to talk about Metallica if you're going to talk about this band, because Dave Mustaine originally he was in Metallica as the lead guitarist, but then he get kicked out. Mostly it had to do with like all the guys in Metallica, they would drink a lot. But the thing is, he was a bit different when he drank. Supposedly, I heard like he got violent and like I think he like punched out one of the guys or something. If I'm remembering correctly, you can look it up. Um, and like as like he actually started the band Megadeth out of revenge, which not a good thing to get revenge. I believe it's best to what God get revenge. Um, but he started a band, and I think that was a good thing. They started the band, and they became part of the Big Four thrash alongside Slayer, Anthrax, and Metallica. And even though I know like Dave Mustaine, he kind of like regrets naming his band Megadeth. I'm not sure. It might just be because of the. I'm not sure if it's only because. My only best guess of why is because like a lot of radio stations won't play their band, and I think it's just because of the name. Because it's the same thing with Anthrax, and it's the same thing with Slayer as well. It's really rare if I ever hear a Megadeth song on the radio, and it's usually only like if the song is brand new and they might play it once or a few times, and then they don't play it ever again. And with Anthrax, I know I've heard, I believe it was, I think the song You Gotta Believe by Anthrax in 2016 when it was new. And I remember the guy on the radio saying, because I'm pretty sure he said something like, "No, we're not really allowed to play this band, but we're going to play it anyway because this song, we just think the song's great or whatever." And they play You Gotta Believe. And I just like, that was like the first time I really ever heard Anthrax. And it was just like, kind of freaked me out at first a little bit. But like, I liked the song and it was a great song. And that album is my favorite of Anthrax's albums, For All Kings. Okay, that's kind of a spoiler alert. I'll know because I talk about it in my Anthrax video as my favorite one. Um, it was found. Yeah, the band was founded by Dave Mustaine and Dave Ellefson. Those were the two original members of the band. They've had multiple other members since come and go. Marty Friedman, Chris Poland. No, they got I think it's Kiko Guerrero on the latest one. And yeah, Dave Ellefson, he got replaced recently because like there was something that happened involving him, and basically Dave Mustaine just felt like it was gonna make working with him like impossible, so they basically fired him or kicked him out or something. And since 1983, the only guy who's been in every Megadeth album as part of Megadeth since the beginning is Dave Mustaine. Everybody else, there's been guys who have come, gone, come back, and then left again. And yeah. In terms of the big four of where my personal ranking for the big four, and like part of the reason why I put this album in first as well is because, well, I'm a born again Christian, and this album, it's almost like, I like how there's not one swear or curse word on it, like at all. And I just feel the best listening to this one in a way. I mean, it's not necessarily my go-to, but I mean, in a way, it's almost like a go-to in a way. It's kind of like, it's an album that like sometimes I'll just have in my car. I just like, yeah. But like, if I haven't listened to Megadeth in a while, I might want to listen to Rest in Peace. But then, I don't know. And oh, I have the original versions of. Oh, and I'll show you how I did Rest in Peace. Where was it? Oh, this is what I did with Rest in Peace. My own like personal copy that I made. Well, I didn't make, but I just like colored on it and stuff or whatever. I did that. And I just to prove to you, I do still have the original copies of each one. There are reissues. Yep, get the discs right here. I basically am just keeping them as spares in case like something were to happen to one of them, to either one of the recordings, just so I still have the albums is all. Yeah, and I'll just show you right here. I got it right here. Yep, Peace Sells, but Who's Mine right here. Yeah, no, I'm not really holding the disc the best way, I know. Might be like, how can you hold the disc like that? It's Megadeth. It's like, yeah, I know, it's just for a second now. You might say, oh, a second could be everything. It's like, yeah, it's, I'm just, I just feel like holding it that way. And where I would rank the big four for me personally, in number four and fourth place. For me, now this is just like my personal preference. This doesn't go by who I feel has the most talent or the best talent and skill. This is just in terms of ones I like the best. In fourth place, I put Slayer mainly because I really only like about 3 of their albums. Maybe 5 or 6. Their albums, like, I really love Rain and Blood, as well as Seasons in the Abyss. That one's also great. As well as, I really like Repentless, which is from 2015. That one I think is probably a hit or miss for people, but I like that one. And then I have Hell Awaits and I have Show No Mercy. Those ones are alright. They're like first albums. It's kind of like, okay, musically, it's it's kind of like listening to Anthrax's Fistful of Metal, as well as Metallica's Kill 'Em All, and Megadeth's Killing Is My Business and Business is Good. And then in third place, I would put Megadeth, and it's only by a hair, and it's mainly just because of the fact that even though I kind of like more of their albums than I like for Anthrax, I put Anthrax in two basically because like when the albums that I like, there's not like one song where I'm like, yeah, I have to skip this song. I can't take this one. I can just listen to every song and every one of the albums that I like, and like it's like yeah. But with Megadeth, with those two albums right there, I just have to skip those two songs, and with a couple of my top favorite albums by them, and as a result, it's just like for me, I have to put them in third, just by a hair under Anthrax, and I put Anthrax because I really like a ton of their albums, like the albums that I like, and then Metallica, they're my favorite of the big four. If I was gonna say who do I think has the best talent all around skill out of the big four, in terms of speed and heaviness, I might have to go with Slayer because if you listen to like Rain and Blood, they had some of the fastest songs ever written on there, and it's just like, well, that is just pure talent. I hear that and I'm just like, okay, that is their gift from God to play music and to play as fast as they possibly can and make it sound good. Because not everybody can play as fast as they possibly can and make it sound good, obviously. Like, they might try and they'll probably be missing a lot of, they might be missing a lot of notes because or something. But it's kind of like, wow. But the thing is, the reason, yeah, in terms of like talent and like skill, in terms of how fast, in terms of overall though, well, I don't know, just all four of them are innovative in some way, like, or innovative in some way, or like tied to one another, and they're all thrash, and they all had an album, and they all had at least one or more albums in the 1980s, 1990s, 2000s, and 2010s. And like, I think like the biggest thing was to survive the 90s, I think I heard was like the biggest thing. Metallica, they survived the 90s like no problem. Megadeth, pretty much no problem. For the most part, Slayer, no problem. Anthrax had the toughest time surviving the 90s, but they survived it and they had another album in the 2000s. In 2003, We've Come For You All, and then they had another one where another couple albums, 2011 and 2016. And they got Joey Belladonna back, and I feel like that's when like the band really got great again. Okay, it wasn't that they were never. Well, to me is what I mean, like, because I just don't really go for John Bush's vocals. Is all. It just reminds me of Alice in Chains and Audio Slave and Godsmack, and it's just, I don't like those bands, and it's because of the vocals. Like, vocals can kind of make or break a band for me, I guess you can say, as well. For a while, I used to be kind of not sure if I liked Dave Mustaine's vocals for a while in a way, kind of, but I think it was more something else. And I think it's great that like, with the exception of Slayer, of course, that they all still got it, and they're all still touring to this day. Like Metallica, Anthrax, Megadeth, they're all still touring to this day, and they're on their late 50s, early 60s for the most part. Other guys in these bands, I know Joey Belladonna, he's going to be 62 in October. If you're watching this, Joey Belladonna, happy birthday. I mean, happy 62nd birthday, or early 62nd birthday. And I'm trying to remember if Dave Mustaine, I think his birthday already passed. And he just turned, I think, 61. And James Hetfield, he just turned 59, I believe. And then Tom Araya, he turned, I believe he's 62. No, I think he's 61. I think he was born in 1961. And I mean, like, they're all like innovative. Like, if we didn't have like Anthrax do the stuff that they did with Public Enemy, and also before that with the song "I'm the Man," we might not have like new metal. We might not have gotten new metal bands like Linkin Park and like Papa Roach, and we may not have gotten Rage Against the Machine, or Rage Against the Machine might not sound as good as they do. And like then like with Metallica, they inspired a lot of bands. Megadeth, Anthrax, Slayer, they all inspired a lot of different bands and stuff. And I'm not really sure. I mean, they're all talented. I'd say Slayer is probably got the best when it is probably the most talented when it comes to speed. And then I mean, Slayer is probably the best when it comes to speed, and most talented when it comes to speed, obviously, and heaviness. Then I'd say maybe Metallica in a close second on that one in terms of heaviness. And then you could put Megadeth in there as well, almost tied. And then I'd put Anthrax. I mean, a close, extremely close fourth, only by like a hair. Like, if you listen to their latest album, like, that's, I think, their heaviest album, For All Kings. I'd highly recommend it. If you haven't heard Dystopium from Megadeth and The Sick, the Dying, and the Dead, I'd check them out. They're both good albums. If you're new to Megadeth and you don't know where to start, a good album to start with. Well, if you want to hear like an album that's like clean with no swearing or cursing or nothing, I would definitely just pick up The System Has Failed. Either that, or you could pick up The Sick, Dying, and the Dead. But if you don't mind a few swears and curse words, or a number of them, of course, you could pick up Dystopia. I mean, Peace Sells, but Who's Buying? I kind of feel like if you're like a kid watching this, I think I would recommend getting parental permission before you listen to album Peace Sells, but Who's Buying, as well as Rest in Peace on those ones. And I probably sound a little silly saying that. But I'm not really sure what else to say. I guess I'll end it here. So tell me what you think. What's your favorite Megadeth album? Okay, I might have put. I mean, I don't know what. I mean, okay, part of me, in a way, almost likes this one more as number one. But I just decide to put System Has Failed in first, only because I can take every song. Anyway, I like songs on this one. Songs that I like more. I guess you can say it's kind of a toss up with these two. These two here, kind of a toss up. If not with the top 3 or 4, it's kind of a toss up on those. Yeah, so what's your favorite Megadeth album? What's your ranking? I'd like to know. I don't know if I'll do one on Slayer ever. If I do, it probably won't say much. I'm not sure I have as much to say about that band. This is my least favorite out of the big 4, and it has a lot to do with like their song lyrics. I'm just not crazy about a lot of their songs because of it. Songs I love though, for the most part. See ya.